Hi guys, welcome back to the Funky Evolution Party. I'm Alice Green. So the last few weeks have been quite hilarious. I'm gonna lay out the way things are. I am not claiming to be any religious person. I actually practice spirituality on a Friday for the Muslims, on a Saturday for the Jews, and on a Sunday for the Christians. I celebrate with a glass of whiskey. What I do claim to be is someone with critical thinking, with common sense, with intellect, and watching how fucking stupid all of these theories are on what is ancestral, what is the difference between this and that. Let me completely debunk the difference between psychology, which is the way you think, your belief system, the way your way of life is, with your biology, which is your DNA, which is fixed. Now, why does she know so much? It's all recorded in my DNA. My ancestors, who are from the land that everybody is trying to grab right now. It's hilarious. There was an African tribe in Scotland claiming ancestral rights. This is how ridiculous the whole Middle Eastern freaking kerfuffle sounds like to a normal person. It would be like me claiming that I am Chinese or that I am from the Zulu tribe. It's insanity. And what's really funny is people are always telling me, oh, she's off with the fairies, she's this, she's that. Actually, from a very intellectual perspective, facts are facts. Color, let's just go to colorist because you're also used to discrimination there. Black, white, very distinctive. I cannot claim to be anything other than what I am, which the blood running through my veins is a recorded history of who I am. Let me just say, majority of people have a lot of pagan DNA, claiming that they are of Arab descent. This is pirates with a 3,000-year-old pirate map. I don't know how to really articulate this very fine point. Is no one is entitled to shit, basically. Let's go back through history. I'm not a historian, I'm not a scholar. The information is there at your fingertips, and you choose to live in this delusional world of distorted reality of some, I'm entitled. You're entitled to shit. I'm not entitled to anything. I'm not even entitled to what my ancestors built. I have to work for it, just like you do, and everybody else, because at the end of the day, the privatization of all our resources, the robbery, and I call it daylight robbery, of our government, selling off our kids, everything. They are throwing these walls at you, so you fight on a psychology of I'm right and you're wrong. I'm sorry, it's the way you think. The way you think can change tomorrow. For the last 3 weeks, and I'm going to give you a very good, I am not immune to the crazy that goes on. I am not immune to this and that. All I know how to do is manage it a lot better than you. When we had this 4-week period, I bumped my head. I was like, whoa, lots going on. At the end of the day, you have to suck it up and you have to face reality. And reality is, these are the facts. And we're talking about a bunch of squatters in suits claiming that they have rights. All right, and these are from Europe, from everywhere else, claiming that they have rights to a piece of land because they're ancestors. And let's debunk the ancestors, because I am Lebanese and you're blowing the crap out of my country, contaminating my land, killing off the children. But actually, Israel was created from King Hiram, who, they were, the Israelis, the peasant stock of Lebanon. They weren't Eastern European, they weren't Polish, they weren't German, they weren't any of these things. They were peasants. The King David, who was not a bloodline king, was granted this from the Lebanese, who when you look back and you think about it, actually maybe just wanted to get rid of you all because you're a pain in the asses. Jokes aside. The reality was they killed King Herod, and as you can see, history is stuck in repeat. Now, let's go into religion in general. So let's start with Judaism. So it started from the pagans, the Arab, the Lebanese, King Herod, they were all pagans. They had all of their pagan ways of doing things. So did the Romans, so did everyone else. Judaism was the start of the Abrahamic religions. Now, the reason Jews are Jews and not Christians is that they refuse to acknowledge that Christ was the Messiah. Now, they're still waiting for a Messiah who apparently is Shekinah. She is the feminine energy of God. She's not coming. She's not coming for anyone. She's like, with this world, you know, blow yourselves up to smithereens because I ain't gonna come and associate myself with these lunatics. That's what Shekinah's thinking. You know, you're like, oh, how do you know that? Any person would think that. Like, I ain't even gonna associate with that level of crazy. Now, complain about the Muslims. And then we're talking about the same piece of land where Jesus was born, right? Where Judaism was created from King David, Arab land, next door to, you know. Then Christianity comes in. A whole load of people decide to reject that and remain Jewish. A whole load of Arabs decided to adopt Christianity and live in the way of Christ. Now, 2,000 years later, there was a bit of problems with that. And then Islam came into play. Those same people that converted from Judaism to Christianity then converted to Islam because it's called progression. It's called evolution. You guys, originally pagans, are rejecting what was created on this piece of land and claiming it to be your own. This is our way of life that you've adopted, and then now you're telling us that we don't belong on our land. It's beyond stupid. It's like, let's let the African tribes take over Scotland and say that they have ancestral rights to the land. It just it's mind-boggling how many so-called intellectual people are rolling with this. How many religious scholars in the church are saying that these are our friends when they completely reject your belief system. It's then even crazier to attack the progression of the Abrahamic religions and say, oh, you're not compatible with us at all. No, what's not compatible is the rejection of all the messengers that were sent. I have nothing against Judaism because, again, that is a stem of my ancestral bloodline. I believe that the doctrines, the practices, that is all necessary. The way of life in terms of not blowing up women and children, that's not a way of life. That's not Judaism. Nothing to do with Judaism. That is a political land grab used to psychopop you into thinking that you're entitled to things that you're not. Let's go into Donald Trump. Since we're on the topic of like delusional blonde bimbos and their buddies, I am the president of peace. Ha 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 ha. Let me just go and start war with Venezuela. Let me go and increase the tariffs in China. Like, yeah, you're so peaceful. While you fund the destruction, and it's not just the Middle East, the destruction of the entire globe. There is like, oh, we're friends. Yeah, friends that kill you, steal from you, and screw you over. Great friendships you got there, guys. I'd rather be alone than have friends like that. And the rest of the world needs to wake up. How many vetoes did they put through? Because of their mates. There's no logic towards what is going on. It is literally failed colonialization. Now, again, the world has changed so drastically. You cannot claim rights to land, and I can't claim rights to anything. You work for it, you get visas, you do what you gotta do. All of this, oh, we're gonna expand our empires. I'm sorry, that was 100 years ago. The law, which says that these people, these natives that you have been murdering for years, and we're not just, they went into Australia, they killed all the natives. They went into South America, they killed all the natives. Who did that? The British and the Europeans, not the Arabs. We haven't taken over anywhere, okay? They did a bit of Spain and that was it. the majority of the killing has been done by the so-called civilized West. So civilized, I swear to God. So civilized that you think that live streaming a genocide and starvation of women and children and blowing up every educational institution, hospital, murdering doctors, kidnapping them is civilized. Yay! It is a joke. Not that I'm joking. What I am watching, what I am witnessing, and oh yes, I'm God's witness. Here is my stake to spirituality is insanity. And what's really insane is that people are rolling with this. The ICJ, the International Criminal Court, every single person in those institutions needs to be fired because they can't do their jobs, and people with the qualifications to negotiate and who understand the law need to be put in these positions. Go to El Salvador, where he has literally cleaned up the streets. It might seem harsh to people, but that is the only way that this world is going to evolve. Otherwise, let's take us all back 500 years ago where you wage war on me and I'm just going to kill everyone and blow up everything, and I want your land and oil, so I'm just going to come in and take it. It doesn't happen like that anymore, guys. It's not how it works. Otherwise, you want to start that on a global scale, we're going to start it on a little scale, and this is what you're seeing in Scotland right now, which is just perfect. It just perfectly describes what is happening. And yeah, enough said on the topic. Anyway, to wrap this up, because I could talk for hours on this topic on how your psychology and my biology and my ancestors are not yours, but at the end of the day, the ancestors of every single person fought really hard for our rights, fought really hard to maintain a standard, and we are allowing our governments to just piss that all up the wall. You know, they don't care about Christianity. They're blowing up churches, and you are saying, these are my friends. Yay! I'm gonna leave you guys on that note for a funky Friday, because let it absorb in, let it sink in. My DNA, which cannot be manipulated, cannot be changed, cannot be, oh, maybe it's this and it's fixed. Your psychology is so messed up that the koala brain education with no critical thinking, it's where do you want to go with your lives? Because you can remain in this delusional state where you just keep killing everyone out of paranoia and out of fear. I'm gonna kill them just in case. I'm gonna kill their children just in case. Yeah, not really the right way to go. Anyway, please like, share, and get this message out there. Cheers.